I'm riding with Gene to the game, so.
You'll get lost. See in the first quarter.
All right, what you guys got?
Yes, stop.
It's hard to follow that.
You were voted.
Yeah.
You were voted a captain, fourth time in your career. Just does it ever get old to you to have that respect and acknowledgement from your teammates?
No, I mean, I think it's obviously being a captain's important. I take a lot of pride in that, and all of our guys do. I think it says a lot about how your teammates think of you. So, of course, I'm very appreciative and don't take it lightly. So every year that I get an opportunity to, because your team changes every year. So you build new relationships. You got to lead every day, every season. It changes a little bit the dynamic. So for me, obviously, it's a big honor, and I know the other guys feel the same way.
Trevor, different place and time, but 2021 beating the Dolphins. Can you recall your feelings of getting your first NFL victory?
That was awesome. Had to go overseas to do it, but that was obviously we started and finished pretty rough that year, but we started out 0-5. So to get that win in London against this team, came down to the end. Matt made that kick. Remember all of that. So that was a fun game.
Dolphins with a new defense. How challenging is it? What do you look at, I guess, this week on the Dolphins?
Yeah, it's challenging. When you're early games in the season are always a little tough, but especially when it's a new defensive coordinator. So you try to, piece it all together, some preseason stuff, some Baltimore stuff, all those things. You got to kind of try to, take your educated guesses on, what you're going to see, and you got to prepare kind of for everything. And obviously it'll be a big game where you adjust as you go and you kind of see what they're doing. And obviously everyone has a game plan. So once we go in and we figure out what theirs is, it's on us to make the adjustments and, try to execute what we think is the best plays versus whatever they're doing. So,
what's the process like in terms of you and Doug and Press kind of doing that opening script of plays? What's that process like, and how much input do you get to have in that?
Those, especially, Press puts a lot of time into like all that stuff and all the tape and the breakdowns and all that. And obviously I do my own studies and stuff I like to do every week, but he already has a pretty good idea typically of what he wants to do towards the end of the week. He's putting it together and we're kind of piecing everything. Doug and Press, we're all talking about it, and myself. Usually I'll talk with them, I'd say probably Thursday, Friday, we start to kind of talk about the openers, and then by, Friday, Saturday, we definitely have them in place. So there's a lot of different things that we do. It just depends on the week. Obviously it changes every week, but you have with every play there's a purpose, and you're trying to see how the game unfolds and how they respond and all those things. It's it's definitely like a chess game. So there's a lot that goes into it that, I don't do all the prep work on that, but obviously I feel, or I have the say on if I'm not comfortable with something or if I want to add something, or, he asks me if he's deciding between a few things. So yeah, we talk about all that.
What do you think about having Press on the sideline this year?
I think it'll be good. I said early on, besides just being able to communicate faster, I don't really know how much will change. I think it'll be good, and he'll be able to feel the game. It's just different being in the box. I'm sure I haven't been up there, but you're separated from the players and the game on field, and it feels a little bit different being out there. So it could bring a new element. I think it'll be good to be able to run over there and talk to him face to face instead of through a headset or through a coach that has a headset on, because I'm not keeping my helmet on when I'm on the sideline. So that communication, I think, will be even sharper. But besides that, I don't think it'll change too much. But I think it'll be good for us, if anything.
What would your advice be to Ryan and some of the other rookies who are playing their first real NFL game, maybe remembering how you felt before your first one?
Yeah, just to settle in and remember it's the same game you've played since you were a kid. Obviously, you're playing against the best of the best, and you're in the NFL now, and it's, all the bells and whistles, but it's the same game, and, we play it because we love it, and it is a game. And just to remember that, keep it into perspective. You're prepared. We put all the work in at that point on Sunday. You've put all the work in during practice throughout the week, preparing, watching tape. So at that point, that's the fun part. You get to go play, and not every play is going to be perfect, but you just got to live for the next play. So that's something that is important to just remind yourself, and I'll definitely remind the guys before we go out there is, hey, we got each other's back. Just go out there, play. You know what to do. Play free. Don't think, and just let it rip. I think that's the biggest thing.
This game certainly has potential to be an offensive shootout, and usually in games like that, sometimes your best defense is your offense staying on the field. Just wondering how much better you feel about this team being able to do that with where Travis and Tank are with the running game and, of course, the offensive line as well?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you're always we got a lot of confidence in our defense, so you're always hoping it's not that. And I got a lot of faith and belief in them. But reality is you play against a lot of good teams every week. You're playing against great players, so that's always a possibility. But I got a lot of faith in our defense and not concerned about it. But to your point, there are times where we're going to have to pick up the load and carry the defense a little bit, and vice versa. They're going to have to some games carry us, and we're not getting anything going. We're a little bit, stalling out drives. They got to come up with some big stops, and vice versa. If another offense gets rolling a little bit, we got to be able to answer. We got to be able to hold the ball, have some long drives, finish drives with touchdowns in the red zone instead of field goals. All those things are important, and it just depends on what the game is. That's why it's a team sport. You never know how it's going to unfold each week, but you got to be prepared to do whatever you need to do to win. And I think having Travis and Tank both playing great ball, and Readiness, I mean, we got 3 great backs that have played really well in camp, and I really bought into the system, and I feel great about. So having those guys, the run game, and obviously all the weapons just everywhere we have up front, passing game, all that is going to help us too. So yeah.
Are there any added nerves or excitement after the way last season ended to get back out there and get things going?
Excited, yeah, really excited. I'm sure I always get a little like game day nervous, stomach's tight. It's like harder to eat in the morning, stuff like that. But once you kick it off, you settle in really quick. So I wouldn't say there's anything added to it except for just excitement. I think as you play longer, it's going to my 4th year. You get really excited when you get to actually game plan and prepare for an opponent, because you go through training camp, and obviously training camp is very necessary and really important. But towards the end of training camp, you're like, all right, let's just get to week 1 and let's play somebody and let's game plan and do all that, because you're running your same stuff throughout training camp for 4 weeks, and you get to the point where you're just like, all right, I want to have a game plan and know what we're attacking. And, that part of the game I think is fun, and our coaching staff I know feels the same way. Is like, that's why you play, is to, plan for certain opponents, and you get to go do it on Sundays. That's what's really fun.
Any added comfort knowing that Christian Kirk's going to be back out there for you?
Definitely. Obviously, he's an important part of, our offense, our team, what he brings to the table. I think we all saw how important he was last year when we were missing him. Just the things that he's able to do, really, in every aspect of the game. He contributes, and he's a playmaker. So very dependable, and it's going to be great to have him back out there.
You mentioned advice to rookies. How much more comfortable are you, 4 years as captain, in speaking to the team and kind of rallying the guys pregame like that?
Yeah, I've said this before. I think everyone's leadership's a little bit different. For me, I'm not the big rah-rah speech guy. That's just not my thing. And we have guys that do that and are good at it, and it comes natural. I think for me, it's having those conversations with our group, whether it's the skill guys, the offense, whatever, throughout the week, also on game day, and just reinstilling the confidence. And I like to, on game day, I don't like to change my personality, because I think it kind of gets you out of sorts a little bit. So I'm a little quiet. I want to make sure my mind is at peace, I'm settled in, and I can do my job to the best of my ability. And of course, there's like little things I'll talk to guys about, whether it's Christian or Evan or Gabe and BT. Obviously, are new this year, but and you feel out everyone's game day process. Some guys don't like to be talked to at all. Some guys, are loose and just hang out, and you wouldn't necessarily know it's a game. They just want to feel comfortable and loose going out there. So everyone's different, but. I think I definitely feel comfortable speaking up when needed. I feel like the team needs to hear something, whether it's halftime before the game. There's definitely times where that happens.
Who's the guy most likely to kind of maybe hobble everybody up and be that guy screaming?
Cam's good at it. Cam does a great job. Foye, for sure. He's always getting the defense up in the locker room. Foye does a good job. I'm trying to think of who else would be. Those are probably the 2 main guys, one on each side. Typically, like, you see the dynamic. Like, you can't have more than that. Like, one guy goes, and then it's like the next guy's turn and goes again. So it's like it gets a little repetitive, and that's like you can't stand. Sometimes you have like 25 breakdowns on game day. I'm like, all right, guys, we get it. Like, we're playing, and we've done a good job. We've kind of limited it a little bit, but then it's like, all right, now it's your turn to say something. So our group does a good job of handling that, and we kind of know who feeds off that too, because there's guys that they like to be in front of the team and they want that, and it gives them some juice. So like I said, Cam and Foye are really good at that, and they bring some juice for sure.
What's it been like getting to know Mitch Morse as a player, and how are there things that you've learned from his experience, and what's that communication process been like?
Communication's great. really smart player. Obviously, he's played a lot of ball. The thing is, when you're playing with a veteran guy like that up front that's seen a lot, and he's ran every different run scheme and protection stuff, he's seen every look, and he's very clear and decisive on what he likes, what he doesn't like, his opinion on different things. I think he does a really good job of voicing that, and we've communicated. And obviously, this is our first opportunity to actually prepare and plan for an opponent, so that'll be a different element of all week. You're looking at different things, and the defense and the looks you're going to get. Obviously, like I said, this week it's a little bit tough because it is a new defensive coordinator, but it'll be interesting, and it'll be fun to work through all that with him, and just there's so much communication that goes on throughout a game, and the adjustments you have to make in game too. So it'll be good to see how this goes this first week, but I got a lot of confidence, and we've communicated great so far, so I have no concerns.
It's a long season, but just how important is this first step?
Very important. I mean, every week is, every week's crucial. You just never know down the line. It's early, it's week 1, and you think you got 17 games, but at the end of the season, you never want to be in a position, think of last year, for example, where you look back and, yeah, of course, we finished the season bad, but you also look back to the beginning and you're like, man, we let some games slip early that would have gave us even more room at the end of the season. So it's really important. Obviously this is an AFC team too, so that's important. But every game is crucial, and you put everything into it, and you just try to go 1-0 each week, and you got to keep that tunnel vision for 17 weeks straight. I mean, that's what it is. So we got to start with just one though this week. Awesome. Thank you all. Appreciate it.